happen to animals in the zoo. You'd better stop, 'cause animals everywhere. Man is the top, and animal too. And man, you've just gotta care. Wildlife, what's gonna happen to wildlife? The animals in the zoo. Breathing a lot of political nonsense in the air. You're making it hard for the people who live in there. Oh, wildlife, what's gonna happen to wildlife? Animals in the zoo. Wildlife, whatever happened to
Oh, yeah. Hey, folks. Sorry to snap it off like that. But we got a busy show, and I want to get it. I don't want to go all night with it. Okay. In fact, I promised my wife I'd be done by 6 o'clock. So we can enjoy a little bit more of this awesome day outside. Incredible. I hope it's the same for you. I'm pretty sure it is. And wow, what a weekend, right? I wish they could all be like this. Anyway, thanks, folks, for joining me. I got a real, we got a guest coming on. So I asked him to call in at 5:20, but I did want to mention a couple quick things. Okay. First of all, and we're going to be talking about this a little more. Probably keep an eye on my personal page about this as well, but also the Let's Get Wild group, the Let's Get Wild group page. Okay. But we had an incredibly generous donation, to the show and to, my DNR, rehab, wildlife rehabilitation and rescue operation that we run, very modestly here where we are. But to keep the education going, boy, a dear friend, an old friend, of the family, of my family's way back, and I'm sure many of you know him, although he hasn't been on the East Coast for quite some time other than to visit, but Kevin McCann. Okay, now Kevin took over the I'm going to have him on so he can explain this. It'll be a lot better because he's an extremely interesting person, and he has some great stories, including one that's very personal to me and my family, that probably doesn't even know about it other than me. So, I'd like, at least my sister to be surprised, when you hear some of the news Kevin has. But Kevin made an amazing donation. You might know that Kevin owns the rights to the William Wallace Tucker photography collection. And this is a collection that goes back to the 1800s, the late 1800s into the early 19th century. And some amazing prints. Some of them I know by name are the B.B. Mill, Stephen Talkhouse, famous print, obviously, Fanny J. Bartlett's Shipwreck in Montauk, the Beached Whale, Fort Pond, and of course the Montauk Lighthouse from 1880. He sent me 3 prints. The tube is right behind my monitor. It's about 6 inches wide and 40 some inches long. I received it, and I've been so busy. I received it 2 days ago. Haven't had the time to open it and look yet. He wants me to pick 3 of his prints, and or he sent me 3 of his prints. I wasn't quite clear. These are amazing prints, and he wants me to auction them off appropriately to raise money for this wildlife operation I'm serving to you folks. Okay, so that is an incredible donation, and I can't thank Kevin enough. Although I'm sure I will about a dozen more times. However, I just snapped into my mind. It's awesome to have him on and talk about this collection, which will help stimulate the auction, because I have to make sure we do this properly. These are pretty serious prints, very, very well-known, famous photographs, and these are the licensed prints for them, and they're huge. I think, well, they're not huge. They're 30 by 40 or 40 by 60. We'll get into that, okay? But we want to thank Kevin with an amazingly heartfelt amount of graciousness to him, his generosity, and of course his friendship has been invaluable. He sent some amazing old recordings that he sat down and did with my grandparents, and has given them to me over the past decade or more. And great friend of the show as well. And I believe he's over there in California now. So he's brought the show over to the West Coast as well. And his donation was incredible. And we'll be talking about that. Okay. Secondly, folks, I wanted to quickly show you a picture that was sent to me. I can't think of the people who sent it or the person, but what a great person it was. Okay. They saw this young hawk on a stone, and they were out hiking, I believe. And then you can see it a little closer as they got closer. They wasn't sure if it was hurt because, of course, they were close enough to where the bird should have flew away, but it didn't. And it made this a defensive motion with its wings, and they sent it to me asking me, is this bird okay? Should we leave it alone? Well, I zoomed in, and right away you can tell. No, now, there we go. That it's a fledgling. Okay, it's a very young hawk that probably just got to the ground, and the mom and dad are up there watching it, I'm sure, and maybe some of the siblings are going to come down and join it. But what a great opportunity to tell you folks, this is the way to do it, okay? Rather than just grab the bird, assuming there's something wrong, and they certainly could have, because it wouldn't have put up much of a fuss, particularly if they threw a towel over it, okay? They would have brought it to a wildlife center, and all that trouble and time and stress on the animal, of course, they would have been told that there's nothing wrong with the bird. Okay, it's just a young bird, and was probably the folks probably shouldn't have picked it up. Now, look, folks, this happens all the time. It's actually called kidnapping. All right. But we always know that in almost all the cases, these are people that are honestly trying to help. Okay. But more and more people are learning that this is the proper way of doing it. Okay. So I want to keep announcing that and getting this information out there, because this is how it's done, folks. Okay. You call somebody first. Take a picture. We have that ability now. Everybody has phones. Okay. Take a picture of the animal. Send it to a wildlife person. You folks have an amazing wildlife operation. Okay. An amazing one. And I'm going to flash up. I'm sorry. I look like there we go. Here we go. And I want you to write down these numbers. Look, they're right there on the eastern end of Long Island. And folks watching in other places, look in your phone book phone book. Sorry about that. That's my old age showing. Look online and find out where your closest wildlife rehabilitation or rescue center is, or a vet that'll do wildlife. Okay. And this way you can call, ask first before you even make an attempt to touch the animal. Look, folks, every now and then it's going to be obvious when an animal needs help. Okay. If there's an injury, a bleeding or something. In that case, you'll know. All right. One more thing I wanted to discuss, and this is kind of neat, but this came from yesterday on the kids show. I was talking about wildlife with superpowers, and we obviously had to mention the mantis shrimp. And I showed the punch of the mantis shrimp, and I explained that the punch was followed by a flash of light and an intense heat that could rival temperatures of the sun, but I couldn't explain how, because it was a bit more complicated and scientific. Just wanted the kids to know that this was a superpower. Well, it didn't take long for a parent who was watching with their child to write in and said, listen, Dell, you don't make a claim like that about an animal and not explain how. I understand the kids might not get it, but you got to tell me. And I said, I'll tell you what, you tune in tomorrow night and I'm going to explain about that mantis shrimp punch. And what it is the punch. Well, let me do it this way because I was prepared for you. Okay. Listen, while scientists were measuring the velocity and power of the mantis punch, they noticed something else. A bubble forming in a flash of light. See that? They soon realized that the club recoil was so quick after the punch, it created an area of low pressure between the club claw and the subject punched. And when pressure drops this low in water, water instantly vaporizes. This creates a vapor bubble called a cavitation bubble. The bubble doesn't last long because of the pressure around the bubble causes the bubble to collapse. When this happens, energy is released in the form of sound, light, and heat. The energy shock wave is so strong that its heat temperatures rival those of the surface of the sun. Okay? Now, the light that you see is sonoluminescent. Okay? The flash that's created is so powerful that because it's so small, it still can be clearly seen by the naked human eye. Okay. And as far as sound goes, the acoustic energy caused by the punch is enough to stun or kill prey that's just nearby. So even if the punch misses, it could be a problem for the prey or predator. Meanwhile, if you're still curious about the scientific findings regarding the power of the punch, well, it's measured in a unit of measurement called newtons. The mantis shrimp swings its club at speeds up to 50 miles per hour. That's 23 meters per second, generating a physical strike force of up to 1,500 newtons. Since I can't demonstrate that or think of a way to do it, I'm going to just show you this. Instead, where it shows you a human, a professional boxer can punch with 3,300. A normal human would be 400. Okay. And there you see the Mantis on top. And that gives you, and as far as now, that's the first part, destruction caused by this punch. The collapse of the cavitation bubble causes the second part. The delivering of a powerful shock wave compared to a force of a 22 caliber bullet. Of course, that includes, along with that flash of light, and the heat is hot as the sun. So prey or predator, anybody that comes up against a Mantis shrimp stands very little chance against this critter and its superpowers. Okay? So let's see. Oh man, I did this perfect. I still have 2 minutes to kill, folks. So look, I hope that helps you understand that Mantis punch. It's more than just the punch, the force of the punch. Okay? It's also the shock wave created, the heat created in that cavitation bubble, and that heat, of course, reaches those high temperatures. And that's enough to stun as far as the acoustic blast as well. The light is just a flash of light, okay, generated by the energy of that heat as well. So it's quite a reaction from just a punch, okay? Not to mention it's done underwater. Have you ever tried to punch underwater? There's so much resistance because water is 800 times denser than air or something like that. So for a Mantis shrimp being able to do that, that's pretty amazing. We are going to have a special guest with us tonight, folks. We tried to get him on last week. Frank doesn't use a computer, I don't know how to say it. Well, look, my son doesn't even have a computer. Okay. So he's not involved in any social media or anything. He's involved with work and his son, and his wife and his family. And that's just fantastic. So I believe Frank is kind of the same way. He's just not computer savvy. So we had to figure out a different way to get him on, because he is a great resource when it comes to a particular area of wildlife. And that's wild dogs, okay? And we have reason to be interested in that. You folks do on the eastern end of Long Island, certainly, since you're having a resurgence of coyote coming back, certainly at a time when they're needed most. I don't know if it's happening a little too late. We certainly can ask Frank about it, but Frank operates the Wild Dog Foundation, I think in just the greater metro area of New York. But as soon as we can, as soon as Frank calls in, we can do that. And I'm going to change the layout here so that I think I can add this picture here. There we go. All right, there's Frank. And Frank also does lectures, I guess in the wildlife communities out on Eastern. Here we go. Frank's calling in. Let's see if we can get this to work here. Hello, Frank? Okay, I hear you. That's great.
Right. Good.
Hey, everybody. Welcome, Frank Vincenti from the Wild Dog Foundation. Frank, thanks for joining me. I'm sorry we had such a hard time connecting, but believe me, No, but I totally understand. As I was just telling the folks, my son doesn't even own a computer. He has no business. He doesn't want one. He doesn't want to get involved in any of that business, social media, nothing. He wants to do things old school.
He's smart.
Yeah.
Social media is, it's aggravating. I just lucky I could boil water, let alone try to, connect to a podcast or a video interview or telehealth. I'm as we call. I don't know. Your audience is mostly New England, but down here on Long Island, I'm a schmuck. Dell's taking up there.
No, it's
We miss you here on Long Island, Dell. We
thanks,
wish you were
Frank.
back. We need you back.
Oh, thanks, Frank. I really appreciate that. Well, fortunately, I came up with this, so I'm still feel like I have some connection with my folks back home in my hometown. And I love doing this, and I really appreciate you helping me out.
No, I appreciate you
Yeah.
considering.
Oh,
I mean, there's so
absolutely.
many probably more deserving people that should be on the.
Oh, don't say that. Listen, we're all in different. Look, there's a lot of different fields in subfields in this field of wildlife, and it's so dense that it's hard for everybody for one person to know everything. I always tell everybody that the greatest thing about this field is you're always learning. No matter how long you've been doing it, you're always going to learn something new because there's that much to learn.
Well, I don't have the diplomas or the science background, but
no. It's the field. It's being in the field and doing the research. That's where you learn your stuff.
Where you can get a lot of tick.
Yes, exactly. And that makes it dangerous, hazardous duty, as they call it.
What's the tick situation up there in New England?
Yeah, it is. I mean, I'd say our locations where I am in Massachusetts and you on the east on Long Island, in the middle somewhere, probably dead center is Limes, Connecticut, where it all originated. Right. So
I spoke on coyotes there a couple of years ago.
Yeah. And there's a couple things I want. Let's get right into this. And of course,
sure.
You're the man we're going to talk to about wild dogs. And there is an issue, of course, the coyotes are making a very big resurgence back on the eastern end of Long Island slowly.
Right.
I want to know, what can you tell me?
You documented them. You were one of the people that was documented the one in Watermill for, and you had some great interactions between the fox and the coyote out there.
Yes.
So.
Well, yep. I took the first picture of the coyote on the east end. I'm showing it right now.
I also want to tell the audience that, and one of the things I love about you is you were very successful in relocating a litter of fox kits that did not have their parents no longer, and they were adopted by a strange fox vixen that nursed them and raised them as her own.
That's right.
Which is a common occurrence with most canids, but you accomplished that, and I want to give you such credit because that was amazing, and it deserves so much more credit than you get, and that was awesome.
That's really cool of you to say, Frank, because that was one of my earliest interactions, which started as some research, and then it ended up, I found the den that I ended up bringing those kits to. I found that first. And I was studying it, and I was doing my research, and I was wearing a ghillie suit and just laying in the dirt in a pit. And I got all that. And then I got a call several weeks in afterwards, and it was in Watermill. And a neighbor right in the dense part of Watermill, some guy heard some gunshots at night, and sure enough, he started bragging about it, and he had shot an adult fox. Well, I ended up trapping the babies from the neighbor, which was successful and surprisingly because those babies were freaking out. And
how old were they at that time? 5 weeks?
Oh, maybe 5 weeks. No, I wouldn't say any more than 7 weeks at all. But
so they're pretty mobile, and you'd need a net to try to catch it, or do it by hand.
I figured I'd catch the one, but I didn't know what was going to happen with the others. But I did get them, brought them all one by one over to that pit, and they got accepted. And I'm so glad I documented that. I'm going to have to show that sometime.
I can't say how fantastic that was.
Well, I appreciate that. I'm glad someone like you saw it.
Oh yeah, no, I mean that's what I love about you. That's why I'm one of your biggest fans. But it's a technique that is being done with a lot of different wild canids. It's being done with red wolves. It has been done with endangered red wolves down in the southeast. It's been
Nice.
done with African wild dogs. It's
No
done
kidding.
with other wolf species. So yeah, I mean, even in canids have this. I mean, you see, even with our domestic dogs, that domestic dogs will adopt even other species young.
That's
Will
true.
nurse kittens. So they have this very strong paternal, and even males. Males get a bum rap, but male canids are some of the best fathers in the animal world, and they all have this strong parental behavior. And this, they're opportunist predators, and they certainly eat young animals. But they have this. I wouldn't say empathy, because anthropomorphic, and people would probably, academics shun that. But
Sure.
uh, you know,
You can say it here, though.
I don't know. It's been seen with other animals too. It's amazing.
Yeah.
And I'm not an expert on the I don't know, what do you call it, the endocrine things or whatever you call that. But you've seen it where
Yeah.
even a female leopard who comes across a young lion, mortal enemies. Lions will kill leopards.
Absolutely.
And she takes the cub in. And there's been incidents where female lions and leopards have adopted the prey, like young wildebeest or even a gazelle fawn. It's just amazing.
Yeah, it
and
is.
you prove this physically, that it can be done.
Right.
And I hope that other great rehabbers and rescuers such as yourself could do that, and we won't have to euthanize fox or coyote litters, that don't need to be. And
yeah. Well, feel good, because over the time I've been gone, I've had several people call me and ask for instructions on. So there's been attempts made, and they've had some good instruction. But and as far as I know, they've been successful. I haven't heard of any not being.
With foxes,
yes, with foxes. No, foxes only.
On the island?
Yep, on the island. Yep, on the east end.
Right.
Yep.
Was it Evelyn Alexander?
No. Actually, these were people that, let's see. I guess I can say they have a huge tree farm, and there's area for the foxes to a den there, and they welcome them.
Oh, all right.
Okay, so and by doing that, they have a kid.
And put them in with
one of the older kids who has followed me and my work for quite a while, as well as their family, has had to interact with foxes who either had mange or ended up. I think one case there was one that was injured, maybe had a vision problem, and he kind of got left behind. Or was, for some reason, I don't know what the case was, but I told him what to do, and I had called another good friend of mine who had property where foxes would generally den, and I asked him to go see if the den was active, and he said it was. So I told the gentleman, I said, look, if you can get yourself a trap that fox, okay, it was young enough, and trap it and then bring it over to this location. And actually, my buddy helped him release it, and it jumped right into one of the holes. And whether or not there was an issue, they said they stayed there 15 minutes, and the vixen didn't come out screaming and yelling. So, and they knew she was in the hole. So,
do you know maybe there was this other reasoning for it as well? It comes to relatedness too. So sometimes, as you know, and it's not just with foxes, but even with other canids, is that if a daughter or even a sister of a breeding female of one species has a litter, in many of the more social canids like wolves, wild dogs, doles, or whatever, that breeding female will monopolize the whole litter and take her sister, sibling, or daughter's litter for herself and raise them. But there's also the tolerance that a mother would accept her daughter's offspring as well. Wow. And incorporate them into her litter and raise them as her own too. Nice. So I don't know if maybe you're talking about the tree farm. I don't know, was the orphan foxes within the vicinity of that, or they were further away?
No, it was one fox, and it was not close to the denning area. Right. It was an attempt much like the attempt I made. Yeah. I couldn't give the guy any better advice. I knew he could handle it because he had already gotten a fox that had bad mange. He had already got it a bait that had like neck guard or something in it. So and yeah, no, it wasn't ivermectin. Again, if I was there, it would have been ivermectin. He didn't have that. He needed something quick. I connected with a vet friend, and we took care of it with a couple doses of Nexred. It was by itself, so we didn't worry about another animal getting a hold of the medicine a week later. We gave him 3 doses over 3 weeks. The guy did, as per my instruction, and the fox ended up fine. Got his beautiful coat back, and it was good. Worked out good. Oh, great. Yeah. Awesome. Hey, what's the situation with the coyotes out on Long Island right now? What's the status?
Right. Well, I mean,
I took my picture in 2014. So where do we stand now?
Well, you probably are more in touch with people on the East End. The unfortunate thing is that there's a lot of interest groups involved now, and not everybody is in contact with each other. And admittedly, there's a lot of things that are kept from me or that are not disclosed to me. So I can't give you the whole picture. I could give you my summation and what I know.
That's what I want.
Certainly, the coyote population has been stable. I wouldn't say increasing, although people claim that there's many more than there really are. Of the animals that we have been following, we haven't seen any breeding within the last 2 years. We've had a couple of at least two breeding animals get hit by cars. Yeah. Now, there is coyote presence back on the South Fork. Certainly not the animal that you saw back in 2014. Mm-hmm. That animal is either aged out or unfortunately has been killed. But there may be new ones out there that other wildlife rehabbers and wildlife enthusiasts are monitoring. Mm-hmm. As far as how many, I wouldn't say there's more than a pair. The North Fork have a great person minding that. Jennifer Murray, we don't think that there's any left on the North Fork. Maybe they've been poached. Jeez. Maybe there is one left. As you know, there's unfortunately, as coyotes are becoming more and more established here, we're starting to see that there are some interest very much opposed to their presence here.
Gosh, dang it!
Probably won't know. That's inevitable. I mean, I knew that was going to happen, but
inevitable is a good word. However, I thought by chance, with the element of the deer connected with the coyote, that there might have been a little bit more of a welcoming.
That also breeds contempt too, because as you know, some in the sporting community, they want to be the ones that regulate the deer. They don't want to.
Unbelievable.
But as you know, I mean, it's different where you are in Massachusetts. You know, I mean, white-tailed deer are a huge part of the coyote's diet throughout the country.
Right.
Even out west, ungulates are a big part of their diet. You know, there's people that say, well, just the eastern coyote is more of an ungulate. That's not true.
Yes,
Western
nonsense.
Coyotes depend on ungulates too.
Of course. How about the old Western movies? What do you think they they were sitting around standing night guard against horny toads? No, I think not.
They were into cheese and wine.
Yeah.
But certainly up by you in a more pristine environment, I would say, with harsher winters and everything.
Yeah.
Deer are definitely maybe more actively sought after as a prey item down here. They certainly eat as much deer as anywhere else, but in suburbia, the densities of deer, as opposed to whatever other foods they can find, deer getting hit by cars. Why expend the energy when you could scavenge a carcass?
You're right. You're absolutely right.
And, I've known incidents up in Westchester where, and I've seen it myself too, where coyotes just hang out off in the tree line off the shoulder of the Hutchinson River Parkway or whatever, and wait for the DOT to drag roadkill deer into the woods so they could scavenge it.
No kidding.
They could survive very well just living off of that.
Gotcha.
But we're not seeing deer predation as of yet here on the island.
Right.
And as much as everybody, and you know this full well, I'm talking to the choir. Everybody talks about, it would be great to control the deer, but I think people might get a little upset if they see any kind of predation, and they're probably not going to be very accepting of it. But for the most part, it's been very welcoming. I mean, we get pretty positive crowds at a lot of the talks, and when I do outdoor events, people are inquisitive and understanding. And I mean, naturally, the people who don't want them here are not going to want to talk to me or hear what we have to say.
Of course not.
And of course, I get my social media ribbings all the time. But yeah, I mean, sadly, we're seeing it now. And I'm not opposed to the sporting community, but a lot of them don't want the coyote here to be a predator of deer or a potential predator of deer, or they don't want coyotes here in general. And everybody uses examples and conflicts from elsewhere to justify why they shouldn't be here.
Yeah.
So I mean, my as you know, my whole being, for the last 2 decades was to try to be ahead of conflicts and to try to. I don't get paid to do this. I do this out of, the desire to help communities and the wildlife itself to better understand each other and to avoid conflicts. And, there's only so many people I could reach and only so many people that want to listen. So.
Well, see, that's a great reason alone to have you on, because, I mean, here's another opportunity so you can get.
Because I talk a lot.
No, believe me. We don't need you, Frank, for a long-winded person. That's why I'm the host. I can go on forever. In fact, my wife has instruction. If I go on too much long, she'll come out and throw a piece of paper at my head.
Well, your wife. That's why I'm hiding in a room with them. Drag me out by the few hands I have.
Hey, you know what's cool? I heard you mention, Frank. I think I did, and correct me if I was wrong. But you were mentioning different dogs, and you mentioned what is it? But the reason I asked,
it's called the Dole. DHOLE.
Gotcha. I'm showing a picture of it.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. Yeah. I had never heard of it.
They're gorgeous. Well, a lot of people haven't, and this was an animal that I fell in love with that as a kid, reading Rudyard Kipling's about Mowgli and all that stuff. But they made the doles out to be villains in the book, naturally. But the dole always fascinated me, and it's never been a popular species, even in conservation, even though that's somewhat changing. And there's an interest in local countries that have them to try to protect whatever remnant species are left, remnant populations are left. And, sadly, they're in worse shape than tigers. There's fewer breeding doles than there are tigers.
Where are they from? They're from Asia.
Historically, they were found from the Caucasus all the way east to the Russia, Eastern Russia, Korea, China. They were found in the Southeast Asia. India is where the strongest populations were, but they
Okay.
were found in the Himalayas to a degree. There were supposed populations of them in Kazakhstan and Pakistan, but we can't verify that because they were certainly wiped out long before any true records started to be taken. But there seem to be some remnant populations in very remote parts of China. Certainly, like I said, the populations in India are the strongest. And India is actually, my group was raising funds for a study of them in 1998 in the Himalayan foothills. A Scottish researcher was studying them. And unfortunately, I wasn't able to raise a lot of funds, but unfortunately, the study animals were poisoned by the locals and the study fell apart. But there's other populations that are worth conserving in Southeast Asia. We're talking like Dole may be coming back to parts of Vietnam and Laos. They may be coming back to those countries, which certainly still have enough remote wilderness left, even though it's tragically disappearing through logging and everything else. And, a lot of those countries are not very empathetic to dog-like animals, unfortunately. So, but yeah, they're a amazing animal, and they are at the Bronx. They are at the Bronx Zoo.
No kidding.
Locally, yeah. I mean, now 30 years after I was volunteering there, now they have them, but they're there, so people could see them in the flesh.
I'd love to see that. Oh wow!
Yeah,
okay.
No, they're gorgeous.
Oh, neat. Well, I'm going to have to.
They're a lot like African wild dogs. It's my group believes there's some sort of connection genetically and certainly morphologically between the two species.
Huh. That's odd because they don't really resemble each other, right?
Well, if you look at some of the doles in the tropics,
okay.
I mean the doles like the wolf, they have a vast range of habitats, from very cold climates up in China and Russia, to very tropical areas such as Southeast Asia and southern India. And certainly, if you look at the tropical doles, they look a lot like African wild dogs, not coloration wise. They certainly don't have they're not as
that's
large
what I meant.
as the African wild dog.
But,
their skull structure, their body shape and everything. They are a lot like African wild dog.
Gotcha. What's happening with the wolf population here now in the United States, in North America?
Right. Well, wolves are definitely still a major topic, as you know. Certainly, there's an effort to try to bring them back to the Northeast. My group was involved with that back in the 90s to try to bring wolves back with a coalition of other groups. Unfortunately, the current effort doesn't allow my group to participate, but there is a great effort to try to do so. And wolves have been coming back to a degree in New York State. There was one shot, I think, 3 years ago.
What a red wolf?
Well, no, actually, this wolf, I believe, originated from either Quebec or the Great Lakes area. Forgive me for not knowing exactly, but wolves are indeed coming over the border or traveling the Ohio Valley from the Great Lakes.
Okay.
And finding their way into the Northeast.
Okay.
So, but as you know, with Yellowstone, Yellowstone, the population's doing well. It's sort of gone down a bit due to distemper, and I believe there's been a mange outbreak. And wolves are now in 7 or 8 states out west, and certainly we could have more of them, but there's still opposition to them being in certain places.
Here's another question I had. I like how I keep bombarding you with questions. Meanwhile,
I love questions.
Good.
I'm surprised you're the knowledgeable guy.
Well, no,
give me the questions
because because I want it, because when I hear your explanation, I stand a chance of learning new stuff, and I do.
Keep in mind, my explanations.
Hey, that doesn't matter. You're on a show where you fit in perfectly. We're here trying to educate people with general knowledge. We're not trying to change the world here. We're just trying to do our best, and that's what we do. And we do it together as a team. You know, we can't all do it with all of us just on one person's shoulder. The coyote, I've noticed, not through any particular research that I've done, but just from what I've seen, it popped into my head. Why don't I see a lot of mange in coyotes? Is there a reason for that, or is that just something that?
Well, you mean locally by you?
Well, no, not locally by me. Well, yeah, locally by me. I've never seen. I see coyotes here all the time in the winter. None of them have mange, which isn't really the ideal time to get mange. But I mean, it just seems to me that when you bring up mange, particularly, let's say on the east end of Long Island, when you talk about foxes, terrible mange situations. I've cleaned up foxes that were near death, and brought them back with ivermectin. But never do you hear about these outbreaks of mange, sarcoptic mange, in coyotes. I mean, yeah, in coyotes. Okay.
They do in other parts of the country. They do get that. You do have similar.
They don't have a higher tolerance to it or something. I just okay.
I mean, again, I'm not a parasitic specialist.
Yeah.
To me, mange, sarcoptic mange, and maybe you'll agree with me, it's very virulent with the dog family.
Well, that's why I asked.
I mean, wolves, every canid gets it. They were starting to see mange and canid populations that we never saw it, like in down in South America with the wolves, which aren't even wolves, but they're getting mange. And correct me if I'm wrong, my belief is mange was certainly artificially introduced, and it has its origins in the livestock, in goats and pigs from the old world in Europe.
Yep.
And when colonists came over here, they brought the mange with certain livestock species, and they saw how virulent and how negatively it affects canids. And it has been shown that it was artificially introduced into some national parks like Yellowstone back in the early 1920s to eradicate wolves and coyotes. And it certainly, as you said, it devastates foxes and everything else.
Right.
The reason why you might not see so much of mange in coyote populations in some parts, I would think mostly coyotes occur at much lower numbers than foxes do. So as you know, mange is highly contagious from direct contact. Coyotes are also highly territorial, much like wolves. So coyotes really go out of their way to avoid each other. They don't want to get into an altercation because it could become fatal.
Right.
So that sort of cuts down on epidemic disease transmission, in my opinion. Foxes are not as territorial, and they are territorial, but they're not as lethally territorial. And as you know, foxes will go through all sorts of ritualistic behaviors with a trespassing fox. That's and that unfortunately, doesn't equate to the desire to avoid your rivals, and unfortunately, it allows for disease transmission to spread quicker. It's much the same as why do we get epidemics with raccoons with rabies? It's rabies and raccoons are not much more different than any other vector animal or any other mammal. They all get rabies.
Exactly.
But raccoons also have a social system that allows for larger congregations, and especially if people are feeding them, which I know you and I both are opposed to, but people do it. You're unnaturally allowing for this large congregation, and it allows for disease spread.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, so I would think just because of population densities, coyotes have a higher degree of avoidance of rival coyotes. So you don't get that. I mean, a diseased coyote that's trespassing would definitely be attacked by the resident animals, and that's how mange could be spread or whatever else, or rabies. But I think that's probably the reasoning why it's not as widespread. But they do get it, and as you know, and they do get pretty severe cases of it. And, also, I think weather. I mean, I could be wrong, and you could probably talk to more of your wildlife rehab colleagues from warmer climates that they might see more mange in coyotes in warmer areas because of the fact that the weather has better survivability.
Absolutely.
There's not a lot of starvation.
That is the case. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and they occur at higher densities in those areas.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Hey, Frank, I got one more question for you before we're going to have to cut out of here.
Anytime.
Well, two actually. I'll ask you this one first. This actually worked out really good, right? You have no problem.
Yeah, no, it's
okay.
No, this is
so
great.
So you'll come back and we'll do this some more. We'll talk more about it.
Oh yeah, there's 37 different species of canids. Talk about.
I know, and I have all their pictures all loaded. Dingoes, maned wolves, blackback jackals. I've got it all here.
Yeah, well, I can talk about all of them.
Yeah, and I'm prepared to, but we're gonna cut it down so we can get you back on, and we'll do it again.
Yeah,
okay.
No
all right. Listen, let me ask you, Frank.
And make sure you edit the whole comment.
I made the comment. Hey, listen. What's the situation with gray wolves on Long Island? Gray fox. Are they? Well, I don't. We see a lot of them here. We see more gray than red.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. No. They're common throughout the country. You just need to go over the Whitestone Bridge up into Westchester. They have gray fox.
Oh, okay. But nothing nothing on Long Island.
I don't know. As you probably well know, the DEC and local environmental groups are doing a mammal survey, and I believe they completed it. But no gray fox have shown up.
No.
And the last gray foxes that I have had word of were on the Brookhaven Lab property back in probably in the 90s, so wow. I think they've disappeared. I can't see
much like the mink.
They were trapped out, but I think distemper and parvo sort of hit them hard, and but you tell me this, everybody. I've seen roadkill skunk on the island, and I've known some great rehabbers that have released skunk, after rehabbing them from the island. But they're here, and I guess they're breeding. But maybe the gray fox is the same. They just haven't been, they're at very low densities, but I think they're pretty much gone.
Yeah, I do too. But having you told me that they're over in Westchester. That's a good sign. It always gives you.
So, the majority of the challenge of recovering wildlife on the island is that we're an island.
Yeah.
So if we were connected to the Bronx, coyotes would have been here 40 years ago.
Exactly. Yeah.
And I'm sure bobcat, fisher, we probably would have had black bear. There's been black bear up in Westchester.
Absolutely.
They would all figure out how to bypass the city and get out to the island.
Exactly.
But it's a little much. It's a little.
They got to swim.
Challenge
at this point. They got to swim.
Yeah, and the coyotes are a little more courageous. They're willing to take chances more than other species. I mean, to my opinion, I mean,
Mhm.
I certainly could see Fisher on the island. I wish that would happen.
Yeah, that'd be neat,
I don't
huh?
see, I don't see bobcat and black bear getting here,
Nah.
within the next 20, 40 years. But yeah,
Well,
but
listen, man.
you would know more than me. You would know better than.
Yeah, well, it's a good topic to talk about, but I don't think we're going to see them either.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, they're close because even where
Yeah.
I lived up just out of the city, up in a town called Tuxedo in Orange
Yeah.
County,
Yeah,
right
no,
on the
great
Rockland.
Renaissance fair up there.
Yeah, that's right.
awesome.
Exactly. They still have a good population of bobcats and black bear. So
Yeah, well, they've
it's-
recovered. They've
yeah,
come back. to those parts.
yeah.
But I mean, there's been Fisher in Woodlawn in the Bronx, and
Wow.
I think the scientists have gotten bobcat in Riverdale in the Bronx.
Oh,
So
cool.
they're there.
Nice,
Yeah.
nice. Very cool.
So-
Well, look, Frank, what an awesome honor it's been having you on the show, and
No, the honor is mine to be a guest with you, Dell.
I appreciate the time you spent with me. We all do. We all thank you, and we're glad that you're going to come back and talk to us more, because I'm not going to get rid of these pictures. I worked too hard finding them.
Oh, definitely.
So.
Yeah, no, 37 episodes on cadence. No, I'm kidding.
All right, buddy. Listen, we'll be in touch. Thanks again.
Right.
And
Dell, thank you so much.
you got it, my friend. And we really appreciate it. We'll talk to you again, Frank.
Anytime. Be safe.
All right,
Thanks.
pal. You too. Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right, folks. So there we go. Another great episode. We thank our good friend here. Want to definitely thank Frank Vincenti of the Wild Dog Foundation. And he's over there on Long Island, so he's watching things really good as far as dogs go. And we're going to have him back on again and again. Certainly, like he said, there's so much to talk about when it comes to canids, and everyone's interested in canids because we have their descendants in our homes. We love our dogs. We're very close to our dogs, and they all came from the wild dogs. So it's a good way to be educated on your pet's ancestry. Okay. And that's how we do it. We talk to people that spend their time studying these particular animals. I try to do all different things, and that makes my brain swell. But folks like Frank pick a particular animal, and they really become very knowledgeable about them. And that's why I have these people on, like Pat Hope, when we talk about ticks, and Deborah Klugers when we talk about bees, and the whole gamut of people that are experts in their field. Okay, folks, listen, thanks a million for coming and joining me again this Saturday. We had a great show, and I'm glad we were able to stick to an hour. Join us next week, next Sunday at 5:00, and we will continue the conversation. Why? Oh, son of a gun. How am I going to get used to that? Maybe I should just look down first, because I'm looking at the camera. Anyway, wildlife matters, folks. We know that. We live by that. I live by that. So I hope you guys can live by that too. All right. We love them. We share the earth with them, and it's good to keep learning about them. You learn, you let me educate you, and by accident, I'm going to learn stuff too. And that's the way I want it, because I'm still got room to learn. I always want to learn. It's the best part of the wildlife field. You can never know everything. It's fantastic. Yeah, we'll see you next Saturday, folks. Okay. Thanks for joining us. And thanks, Frank. Thanks, everyone.